Okay. So yesterday we have seen about Spring Core, that's nothing but IOC, inversion of control, and one more is dependency injection. In the dependency injection what we have seen? Constructor injection, setter injection, both the things. But when you are doing all these things, how you have done it? Using XML way of doing that, okay. Now we will be seeing annotations way of achieving the same thing, as well as using your Java configuration how you can achieve it, okay. Before I proceed with that, there is one more thing which I want to show you. What is that if you ask me? Let me just go back to the editor. Okay, where you can clearly see I am trying to get the object of a gold customer, correct or not? How many times I have got the object right now? This gold object, how many times I got it? One time you have got. Next I'll try getting the object second time also, okay. So whatever I'm getting the details, I'll just delete this part. I will try extracting a gold customer object. I'll name it as bean1. This is your first object, this is your second object, correct or not? I'll get third time also the same object. Now how many times gold customer object I got it? 3 times. Now let's print the object reference. So I'll say bean, next one what I'll say? Bean1, next bean2, okay. So basically I am printing a object reference, 3 object reference which I am printing, okay. Now if I wait to execute, what you are getting is nothing but a hash code or fully qualified class name you will be calling it as, okay. You observe it, is it a same object reference or it is different object reference? Same, means how many ever time you call or you wanted a object, you ask for object, it is giving you same object only, it is for you. Means in the IOC container object is available, the same object it is giving you whenever you are asking for this particular gold customer, okay. Why? Because this is when a concept that is internally Spring framework is using. What is that if you ask me? It is only called as singleton design pattern, which it is internally using. What I mean is, what is that singleton design pattern if you ask me? How many ever time you create an object of any particular class, it will create object only once. It will create an object only once, okay. So you create an object, it will be giving only one. Means you ask for object, okay, I want a gold customer object, gold customer. Multiple times if you ask also, it is giving you only same object itself. I hope it is clear. But sometimes you are in required with, I want different object. Whenever I ask for, I want different object to be returning. I don't want same object you have to be different. That is when there is one more concept comes into picture, which is called as the scope of the object, okay. Scope, when it comes to scope, there are 2 different types of scope that is when it is available inside your Spring Core. One is called as a prototype, one more is called as a singleton, okay. And by default, what is the scope of this? Singleton. Now I want to change it to prototype, so that every time I ask for object, it should be giving you different object. I hope it is clear for everyone. Now let's see how can you do it. How you can do it if you ask me? While you are creating an object itself, where you are creating object, I am not creating an object. Instead, who is creating object? Spring is creating object. For that, we have written certain code in application context.xml, correct or no? Over here, ID is there, class is there. Along with this, one more attribute I need to make use of it. So that while creating object, it is not following singleton design pattern, instead it follows the scope of prototype. What is the attribute if you ask me? I should be saying one more attribute called as scope, okay. And what is the scope? I should be saying it as this prototype is the scope. I hope it is clear for you. So if I just change this part, what happens? Now it will give you different object whenever you ask for, okay. Let me just go back, execute and check, is it really happening or not. If in case I take you back and execute this, can you see over here? Is it giving you different object every time, or it's same object? Different object, because now it is following not a singleton, instead it is following prototype design pattern. I hope it is clear for you. Any confusions in this part? Clear? Okay. This is what is one more thing which I wanted you to tell about, and all these things how we have achieved is here XML way. Now let's see about annotations way of doing the same thing. How exactly you can do annotations way of this if you ask me. Let me show you all those things. These are the annotations which you will make use of whenever you are working with this particular, you are working with your Spring, okay. The first annotations I have made use of @component, okay. So, @component when you will make use of is, if in case you will be making, if in case I want to create a bean of any particular class, what is that you will be making, what is that you will be writing? Bean tag you will make use of instead application context.xml. Instead of making use of bean tag, I can make use of @component. Means for a class, if I say @component, what happens? It will be creating a bean now. I hope it is clear for you, okay. So whenever you want to create a bean just for a class, you need to say @component. Next, @AutoWire. When you have to make use of, where you have to write this if you ask me, you can write @AutoWire for a constructor or for a setters. Based on what if you ask me, if you are doing constructor injection, then you make use of @AutoWire, okay. If you are making use of setter injection, then you have to make use of @AutoWire for setters. I hope it is clear for everybody. Either you make use for a constructor or use for a setter. If you have written this for a constructor, then Spring will understand you are doing constructor injection. If you are made use for a setter, Spring will understand you are making use of setter injection. Is it clear? Okay. So this is for a constructor injection or a setter injection. Constructor or setter injection, okay. Next, it is @qualifier. @qualifier, what is the use of this if you ask me? If you want to assign a value for a reference kind of or non-primitive data type, then you have to make use of @qualifier. When, like previously yesterday we have written address, for that we want to assign a value, it is not non-primitive data type. In these cases you need to make use of @qualifier. @qualifier for such which is a non-primitive data type, for which you need to be specifying a value, for which a value you want to assign, okay. And there is something called as @value. @value for a primitive data type. Primitive data type @value you will be specifying, okay. Next, @configuration. What exactly I mean is, if in case you want to consider that class is a configuration file, you want to treat that class as a configuration file, then you need to make use of a annotation called as @configuration. Means a class to be considered as config, then you have to make use of this configuration annotation, okay. The last annotation is component scan. Why? You will get to know in a while. I'll answer it with when you are writing up the code. Is it clear for everybody? Okay. Now let's get started in with you making use of all these annotation, and one by one try exploring all this particular annotation, okay. Starting off with, what is the first annotation? @component. Let me take you back. Now, if you go here, gold customer is there, and one more we have is platinum customer. Platinum customer we have not done anything, correct or no? For a gold customer we have written all these codes and we have assigned a value, everything means IOC and dependency injection you have done using a XML way, okay. Now platinum customer we will be doing IOC and this one, what is that? Dependency injection using a annotations, okay. Now what I'll be doing is, for a class I want to create a bean of this class, means what is that I need to say? @component. Then it will create a object. but I want a reference for that particular object, or where I need to provide inside the bracket, I should be providing a reference. ID value what you used to provide, the same thing I need to be providing over here. How can I say that? It is platinum, which I'll be saying. Clear for you guys? Now if you see, create this much, it will create an object of this particular bean. To just check whether it is being created or not, what I'll be doing, I'll create one 0 parameterized constructor. Inside this I'll put one statement, because you know very well, if in case really object of platinum customer is created, means it will call a constructor, which is a 0 parameterized constructor, correct or no? So what I'll be doing, I will have a constructor. Okay, I'll have a constructor. I'll have one statement saying platinum customer object is created. Clear? Okay. Now let me go back. Now I'll remove all these things. Now I want to get a object. Get a object of what? Platinum customer. Okay. So what I should be saying it as? Context dot get bean. Okay, get bean means it will give you an object. Bean of what? Platinum. Okay, I need to copy this. I'll go over here and paste it, and I'll get this. It is giving you object type. I told you if you want you can typecast it. I'll typecast it. So I'll say platinum customer itself. So I'll say platinum customer. The same thing I'll typecast it over here. Is it clear? I'll print the reference to just check is it working or not. So I'll say bean. Okay. Let's execute and check is it working or not. If I wait to execute, some exception occurred. Let's see what is that. No bean named platinum is available, it is saying. Why, if you ask me? There is one reason because of it is happening. What is that if you ask me? Right now also it is going with the XML way itself. I wanted using annotations way it has to be done. Using annotations way it has to be searching means in the XML I should say using annotations way I am creating a beans. I hope it is clear. How you can state that if you ask me? Inside your application context.xml I need to write one line so that it will understand that you are using annotations way of creating a bean. How exactly if you ask me? Over here I should be saying something. Okay, what is that if you ask me? I should say context component scan. This is what is something which I need to be stating. What it means you are telling to Spring, I am doing annotations way of means creating a bean or IOC or dependency injection. I am doing it using annotations way. Over here what you should be specifying is package in which all those classes you have kept where annotations is available. Okay. So now I need to be specifying the package over here. That's why I told you when I am writing this Spring configuration, I told you I need one of the important thing. What is that? Context, which I need it, I told you, because of this itself. Because without this line I cannot write this particular line. Because what it is saying? Context colon component scan. If you want you can change this name. If you change the name over here, you need to change it over here also. Okay, it is not necessary it should be context itself. You can change the name, but over here what is the name? The same name I need to be provided. Basically this URL is something which is really important. Is it clear for everybody? So now what I'll be doing, I'll mention the package in which my class is present. What is the package if you ask me? Let me just open and check with that. So over here says source main Java, inside com.tap.acad we have kept everything. So what I'll be doing, I'll provide the package as com.tap.acad. Once I do this much, whenever you load this application context.xml, immediately first what it will be doing is, it will go and search inside this package all the classes. What it will search for if you ask me? It will search for such annotation called as @component. And wherever it sees that @component, it will create a bean of that particular class. I hope it is clear. Now if I go to your main method and execute and check is it working or not is something which we will check. If I just go back and if I were to execute this, can you see? First platinum customer object is created. It's working fine. I hope it is clear for everybody. Just one line of code you will be able to done. It is not even necessary to have bean tag, ID, class, nothing is required. Just one line you will be done with this. Clear? Okay. It is about creating an object. It means it is about the IOC, inversion of control. Okay. This is using annotations we have seen. There is one more thing which is dependency injection I need to be seeing. Okay. So let's see dependency injection using constructor how you can do, using setter how we can do it. Okay. Let me go back. I'll go to your platinum customer. I'll have a variables now. Okay. Two variables I'll be creating. What are those two variables means? I'll create one ID and one more I'll create as string name. I'll create two things. These two are primitive data type or non-primitive data type? Primitive data type. For a primitive data type, I told you what is the annotation to set a value for it? @value. So where I need to be specifying means for a variables only I need to be specifying. I hope it is clear. So if in case assume I'll make it as a private variables also. I'll make it as private. Here also I'll make it as private. If in case I want to set a value for this ID above this particular variable itself, what I should be saying? @value I should be saying. Now over here I should be specifying the value. What is the value that you want to assign? You can specify. I want to assign 101, whichever is. Okay. Now if you want you can assign a value for your name also. How can you assign? @value. And what is that you want to assign? You can assign over here. I'll just say it as Sharat, a value which I have given. I hope it is clear. Now if you want to access these details inside your main method, can you access this directly using ID and name? No. What is that I need to do? Setters and getters I need to have. So let me just get the setters and I'll get this particular setters and getters also. So let me just get that. Setters and getters I have got it. Now let me go to your main method. Over here bean dot, what I should be calling? Get ID. Next bean dot, what I need to call? Get name I should be calling. I hope it is clear. And now if I wait to execute this, can you see over here? ID also you can access, name also you can access. Now is it easy now? Because over there again I need to have a constructor or I need to have a setter to do all this thing. Over here one line you can done with this. Clear for you? Okay. Now it was primitive data type you have done with. What if the non-primitive data type is there? I cannot assign a value directly. Using value annotation I cannot do. Instead what annotation I use? No. Qualifier, auto wire, two annotations I need to make use of if you are assigning a value for your non-primitive data type. Okay. How you can do this if you ask me? I'll go to your platinum customer. Over here I'll go and say one more variable I'll be saying. What is that one more variable if you ask me? I'll say private, I'll say address and I'll be saying address. Because address class we have created, the same thing I want to. Now if in case I want to set a value for this, again using your annotations you can, using your constructor you can do or using your setter you can do. First let's try doing it using annotations way. Okay. Now how can you do it if you ask me? First let me just have a constructor, okay, which is accepting parameter called as address. Okay. What I'll say? Public and I'll say platinum customer. Over here it will accept one parameter. What is that? Address. Inside this, whatever the value that will be assigned, that should be assigned to this particular. Means what I should be saying? This dot address equal to address. I hope it is clear. Now, if you write this much, it is not enough. I have to tell to Spring that I am making use of this constructor injection, because you as a programmer know you want to do the constructor injection, but Spring also should know this part, right? So, how you can tell this if you ask me? That is when the annotation called as @auto wired comes into picture. So, where I should be specifying this @auto wired if you ask me? I should go to this part above this particular constructor itself. I should be saying @auto wired. Now it will do the constructor injection itself. Okay. Next, for this I have to assign a value, correct or not? What value I need to be assigning? Object of address I need to be specified. Okay. Over here, where how exactly I need to make use of, how exactly I have to assign a value if you ask me, that is the reason @qualifier is available. Okay. Where I should be specifying means, for this variable I want to assign a value, correct or no? So, before to this I should be specifying @qualifier. Okay. So, I should be saying @qualifier, and inside this parenthesis I should be saying what is the value that is available. Now, what value I need to be specifying? Object reference of a address I need to be passing. Where I can get the object reference? Inside your application context, have we created a bean of this particular address? Correct or not? So, same ID is nothing but an object reference of your address itself, correct? Same thing, you take it and paste it over here. Okay, because here it is not a value that you are assigning, the reference that you want to assign it over here. Okay, so what I will be doing, I will take this part, there is nothing but your address, I will copy and I will go to your platinum customer and I will paste it. Any confusions in this? Clear for everybody? Now I will get this particular address. I hope it is clear. How you will be getting means, again I will have a setters and getters for this. So let me just get the setters and getters. So this is your get address is available. What I will be doing, using this address, what I will be calling? Inside your address class, there is a method that is available which I want to call it. How can I do it? Address dot, yes, get address details, and whatever it returns I want to return. So return type is string. Okay. Now what I will be doing, I will just go to your main method. Again what I will be doing, using this bean, I will call one method. Which is the method? Get address. Okay. Now let us execute and check, is it really working or not? Okay. And if I wait to execute, can you see Bangalore? Are you able to access it? And you can clearly see annotations, how you are making your job easy. Just a one line, it will be done. But if it was in the application context, we used to write certain lines of code, 4 to 5 lines of code. Now it's just one statement, you will be able to done with it. Is it clear for everyone? So this is how about constructor injection using a annotation. But there is one more thing. What is that? Setter injection using annotation. How exactly we need to do if you ask me? Let me just go back. Before I proceed for this, I just want to specify one more thing over here. As of now, this constructor, how many parameter it is accepting? One parameter. If there is one more value, assume the one more value is something like this. So I'll say comma id, means int id. In that case, if in case you want to assign a value for this, the annotation should be again @qualifier or value you should be specifying. How many ever you will be having a value for which you want to assign a @qualifier or @value, you should be specifying for each and every value. I hope it is clear for you. Okay. Now, I don't want to do the constructor injection. If you don't want to do the constructor injection, this auto wire should not be here. Instead, where it should be? For a setter. Means I'll put for your setter, because now I want to do the setter injection. Okay. Obviously, if in case setter injection you are doing, @qualifier, should it be here? No, I should cut this part. Then where I should be putting? Inside your setter itself I should be putting. Means For this only I want to assign a value, correct or not? So what I should be specifying over here only, I should be specifying it as @qualifier and I should be passing a address. I hope it is clear. Okay. And now if I go to your main method and execute this part, can you see? Is it working? So setter injection is also working, constructor injection is also working. Okay. Any confusions in this? Clear for you? Okay. If it is clear, this is about IOC and dependency injection using annotations. Okay. Now one more thing, which just now I showed you, scope. Scope using XML we have seen. Scope using annotations also is something which is available. Let me just show that. I'll comment this part. Okay. What I'll be doing, this is first time you are getting an object. One more object I'll get. I'll say this as bean1. Okay. Now I'll go here and I'll print it. What I'll be printing? First object, second object. Both the object I'll be printing. Okay. So over here I'll say system.out.println bean, and next system.out.println bean1. Okay. So let's see, is it working in the form of singleton or prototype? Okay. And what should be the output? Is it working in singleton or prototype? Singleton, because we have not, by default what I said, Spring will work in a singleton itself. And if I wait to execute, can you see? Now if you want to change the scope, where I need to be changing, if you ask me, let me go to your platinum customer. Over here I should be saying, where if you ask me, after this component, while creating an object only it should take care of it, correct or not? Over here only I should be saying @scope. Okay. And over here I should be stating it as, what is that I need to say? Prototype. Is it clear? And now if I go to your main method and execute, can you see? It is helping you to create a different object. I hope it is clear for you how to do annotations way of doing the IOC as well as dependency injection. Which is easy? Annotations is easy. Okay. There is one more way I told you. What is that? Java configuration. Means you will not even use this your XML file. Directly one class is there which will act as a configuration file. How exactly you will be making use of? Means a Java class itself which will act as a configuration file. How exactly you can ensure your Java class will act as a configuration file, if you ask me? Let's go back and do this. For that, what I am going to be doing is, I'll create one class. Okay. Which class? Which should act as a configuration class. Okay. So inside your com.tap.acad itself, or inside your default package you can create it wherever, or separate package if you want you can create it. So what I'll be doing inside this itself, I'll have one class and I'll name it as Java config file. This is what is. Now this class I want that to be considered it as a configuration file. Last two annotations you guys remember? No, last two annotation I told you, @configuration, and one more is @component scan. Those two annotations I need to make so that this class will treat as a configuration file. How exactly, if you ask me? For this class I should first specify, treat this class as a configuration file. I need to say, how you can state it if you ask me? @configuration I need to be saying, @configuration. I hope it is clear. Along with that, I need to be telling inside which package all my classes are there, of which you need to be creating a bean, or of which you need to do the dependency injection. I need to tell that. If you have to tell that, then there is one more annotation which is component scan I need to make use of. Okay. Over here I should say @component scan. Now inside the bracket I should be specifying something. What is that if you ask me? Base packages I should be saying. Okay. Over here I should be specifying the name of the package. What is that? Com dot tap dot acad. Is it clear for everybody? Any doubts in this particular part? Okay. Now I'll go to my main method. If I just normally execute, what happens? It will use XML, because what we are loading over here? XML itself, so obviously it will work. But I don't want it to work with XML, means I'll not even load this XML file. Okay. Instead, what I'll be doing, if you ask me, that is when I'll just comment this part. 3 different classes we have seen. When we are seeing that particular, I said 3 different ways you can create it. Class path, annotation path, that is something which you guys remember about it. I need to create an object of annotations way of creation. Okay. How you will be creating, if you ask me, I should be saying new annotations bean. So let me just get it. What is that? So annotation config application context, I should be saying it as. This is what is the object of I need to be creating. And over here I should be specifying one thing. What is that? Means the class which should be treated as a configuration file. Which is the class? Java config is the class. I need to specify my class name over here. So what I'll be doing, I'll just specify Java config dot class I'll be specifying. I hope it is clear. Now I'll get the reference which I'll name it as context. Now what happens? It will treat this Java class whatever you have created as a configuration file and execute the same things whatever you have written, not making use of application context. Instead it will make use of a Java configuration file. If it was really doing the same thing, it should execute the same output for us, correct or not? Let's execute and check, is it working or not? If in case I were to execute, so there is some error, but can you see platinum customer object is created, means it is getting created. What is that error? We'll see about it. So error creating bean with a platinum unsatisfied dependencies expressed through method set address parameter 0. Set address parameter is 0. Okay. Why? Why, if you ask me? Now you tell me, if I go to your application context, bean where you have created? Bean of address where you have created? Inside your application context. But are we using application context now? No. So obviously address is right now null, which we are trying to set a value for it, correct or no? So now I need to make use of annotations only and set the value, because it is not even using this part. I hope it is clear for you. So when you are working with a Java configuration, it is loading your Java configuration file, not your XML file. So what I should be doing is, for your address, I need to be assigning a value. Means I need to ask Java configuration to create an object of this also. How you can say that? @ component. And now I should be saying, what is that? Address. I hope it is clear. Now it will assign a value for it. Okay. Now if I just go to your main method and execute this part, can you see? Previously it was not working, but now it worked. I hope it is clear for everybody what is the difference that is available. So this is what is a using Java configuration you have done the, what is that? IOC as well as your dependency injection. Any confusions in this? And this is all about your Spring Core. Okay. Spring Core is all about two concepts, IOC as well as a dependency injection I have told. I hope there is no confusion, and I hope it is easy also, right? Okay, fine then. The same thing I want you to sit and execute it. Okay. In the next class I will continue with Spring ORM, and I hope you have come across this word ORM. What is that? Object to relational mapping. Where you have heard this? Hibernate. I hope you guys are aware of it. So basic of Hibernate I need it, because the same concept I will be using it in when it comes to Spring ORM, because if you don't know, then you will not be able to understand this what I will be doing in the Spring ORM also. Please ensure that you just revise that whatever you have done. I think you have written a code of it, right? So just go through it and then come, so that it is going to be easy. Okay, now open your laptop, just compute whatever is being done today. Okay.